What's up, everybody? Welcome. It's Orange Bloods Live. I'm Jeff. He's Chad. We're talking Texas football, Texas and Georgia. A little bit of recruiting. In fact, a lot of recruiting at the top as we talk about a new Texas commit. And I will tell you some crazy new recruiting rules and ways of thinking about things and things that Texas has to change.
Out of his mind.
It's not local to you. I'm just telling you right now. So, thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel as we climb towards 200,000. That's just cool to say out loud. Mm-hmm. And jump into the Specs chat and chat it up. We will be there live throughout the duration of the show. And then when you're done with that, jump into the comments section, talk away. Chad, we'll get into Texas, Georgia. But I do have recruiting on the brain a little bit today as the Longhorns picked up commitment number 21 yesterday.
Yeah.
And everything about it, I feel like I reacted to differently than I normally would with a Texas commitment. And it really was like an opportunity for me to take this idea that's been growing in my head about the state of national college football recruiting. Mm-hmm. And this felt like a perfect opportunity to kind of test drive this thought that I think really is kind of starting to take over the sport. And it'll probably be about 3 or 4 years before the mainstream catches up and goes, oh, this is what NIL and revenue sharing and all of that stuff is really created.
All right, so let's throw out the info on the guy, and then you can jump into kind of how you reacted to it. This is obviously in the 26 class, as Ketch said. Charlie Jellick, J-I-L-E-K. Jellick, I'm assuming is the name. 6'5", 225 is how I see him listed here. A tight end.
I see him at 240, by the way, in the Rivals database. So
beautiful. We'll go there. We're in the month of Thanksgiving. Let's go with the heavier weight. 240, and it's a flip from Minnesota. He was committed to Minnesota. He's from the state of Michigan, if I'm not mistaken. So the Longhorns get him. And Ketch, in the past, I know kind of what the reaction to this guy would be. Are you here to tell us today that the reaction should be different than, say, 3 years ago, 5 years ago?
I think that's the thing that kind of, there's about 10 different bullet points on this. Okay. That I think are really interesting. But one of them is a guy with a profile in terms of offers is so low that it's a good thing. That a lot of times, the way you would traditionally look at a recruit a lot of times is, well, who's offered him a scholarship? And then if it's a pile of good schools, you don't care what his ranking is because coaches are smarter than the recruiting analysts are, and they just change their rankings based on what the coaches offers anyway.
Yes, that's how you trained me for years. That's how I've been trained by Orange Bloods to look at those lists and go, wait a minute, 3-star guy and Minnesota and, some mid-level Big Tens are on his list. That's not that impressive. That's what I've been trained to do.
What I have really started to discover, we first talked about this probably during the summer, where I had talked to sources that said, look, the Texas recruiting classes moving forward are going to be super top heavy. They're going to go get their guys. And then it's probably going to be full of guys that just don't cost money. And I think that one of the things that every program like Texas or Georgia or Texas A&M even, it is hard when you get at a certain level where you're playing really good. When you bring in recruiting classes, and it takes guys a year or 2 or 3 before they're ready to go, depending on the position, depending on the player. Like this happens all the time. And at schools like Texas and Texas A&M, those guys are national top 250 guys. They're the ones that build national championships in recruiting, the number 1 class in the country. It's the thing that for all of our lives we've quested after. And I think moving forward, I don't know, you might see a Texas Tech as the number 1 recruiting class in the country because I think what we're seeing Texas do now is evolve from a 25-man deep class where the 20th guy, man, that's really not that far away from the fifth guy on paper because he's a 4-star. You can look up a recruiting class and they've got 24 stars in it. Those guys are expensive. Those guys have sticker prices that schools like Texas and Texas A&M and Georgia and Ohio State, they're probably going to start flinching away from, because why would you pay for a guy that costs money but is never going to see the field for you before you transfer? So what happens is you look at a guy like Charlie Jellick and you go, we have no expectations that he will play before Diabell is an upperclassman, 2029, 2028 at the earliest.
Right.
That's our expectation. The key thing is you need that to be okay with Charlie.
Yeah.
You've got to find a way to start recruiting these kids who are like, you know what? I'm not on the 2 deep after 9 months. And if I don't get on the 2 deep, my NIL or my revenue share is going to get cut in half. I got to transfer. The Jonte Cook plan. How much have we talked about Jonte? Just chill out. Chill out. Wait. Arch will be the quarterback. You'll be the oldest guy on the roster. Like, bide your time. And guys don't do that anymore. What a guy like Charlie Jellick does is at a hit rate that's only slightly less than the guys that you're passing up, the 4-star national, top 250, top 300, top 500 guys even. Less money that it costs on the outset. Your investment is low. And y'all are both on the same page about, yo, dude, don't even come here if you're not ready to really develop and grow. And when you're a junior and a senior, we're really going to count on you. But you know what? It's tough to get on the field at Texas. And we've got 5 stars, literal 5 stars that we're paying $1 million to, that cannot get onto the field in year 1 here. So you just got to be clear, like, what's up. Guys like Charlie Jellick will be like, I get it. I get it. Guys with a slightly higher profile will be like, well, wait a minute. Texas Tech says I can come start for them in year 1. Texas is going to have to start letting those guys go like they're Wilson and Castaway. They don't want to do it. They love those guys. But those guys are complicated for a million reasons. And I think we're going to start seeing more and more recruiting classes super top heavy. You're going to start seeing this at Texas. Super top heavy. 1 through 10, nobody in the country is a better 1 through 10. Mm-hmm. 10 through 20, maybe a lot of schools are just as good as 11 on 20, because if you're paying money for those 11 on 20 and they never play for you, or 1 or 2 out of the 10 are the only ones that ever play for you before they pick up and transfer, what are you doing? Yeah. You're doing the thing that you say that other schools should be doing. You're developing talent for other people. And the whole rule moving forward should be, we got to stop taking flyers on guys and start letting the other schools develop those guys. And then if they get good, we'll just take them. But at the same time, you've got to get older on defense. You've got to get older on the offensive line. You've got to find a way to find contributors and older guys through your own developmental system. And I think a guy like Charlie Jellick is kind of a profile of a guy that can help you start to do that when you otherwise don't have a whole lot of experience and older depth on the squad.
So, Catch, do you think that Texas is finally looking into some of these numbers that you've been talking about for years in terms of these 4-star guys, not the high 4-star guys, not your super blue chip guys, but those 4-star guys? Every time I bring them up and say, man, A&M's got a lot of those, you're like, I don't care. And I'll say, man, OU's got a lot of those. And you go, I don't care. Is this Texas realizing that those are the guys we're talking about here that you don't want to pay too much for when you know the hit rate is just not there?
Well, I think the offensive lineman Max Wright is a real good example of this. Texas loves Max Wright. They want Max Wright. But I think internally they feel like, look, Max Wright's like 2 or 3 years away at best. Mm-hmm. Considering all of the areas where we do have to spend money, that can't be an area where we spend money. And quite frankly, like John Turntine is a super blue chip prospect that they're really getting at kind of a budget hit rate from what I've heard. Like interior guys are less expensive than guys that can play tackle. And it's kind of, these markets are still kind of establishing themselves. But Max Wright falls into the category of player where Texas is like, we can't be paying a lot of money for those guys. But one of the things I said months and months and months ago is fans got to get out of their feelings when it comes to recruiting and the reality that your school might like a guy for $200,000 and another school might like that kid for $500,000. And we just can't get in our feelings because some other school wants to spend more money on a guy. And like, otherwise we would have got that. That is life.
That's the reality. That's the reality. Yeah.
If Chad gets a chance to get his pay doubled tomorrow, he's going to be like, Catch, I love Orange Bloods, but like, someone's going to pay me $1 million. Like, can you do that? Because if not, like, I have to take a job with Satan or whoever's paying $1 million for Chad.
Wow.
Chad would be okay with that.
That is one of the weirdest compliments / insults I have ever heard.
I was thinking of Ozzy when I said it. Like,
wow, that is wild. The only person I can think of that would ever pay you $1 million is Satan.
It's the only person I can think of that would pay me $1 million.
Well done. Yeah, you can cover that however you want.
Guilty by association. I don't know.
Yeah, you can cover that however you want.
I think Chad, what's really interesting is that every school is learning these lessons at a different rate, because this is like the first full year of revenue sharing, of schools needing to set budgets. We're at a time of the year where maybe guys haven't hit their budgets, and it's like, we have $10 million allotted in recruiting, and as it turns out, we haven't spent all of that yet. What do we do? And if you're a school like SMU, you may go to a Max Wright and say, $400,000.
Right.
Because for you become the best offensive line prospect that maybe we've signed in a decade.
And Texas has to say no to that.
And I think that's what Texas is. It's going to be hard.
Because what's Max?
Coaches never want to say no.
How long is it going to take for Max Wright to play at Texas?
3 years.
Yeah.
And look, and that's if he makes it. There's a 70+% chance that he won't.
Right.
And those are the type of, I think you only have to be burned a few times as a school for some of your NIL freshman mistakes before you go, well, we don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Right. But I was looking at a guy yesterday, Sadir Mitchell, was like, he put out a video. He's not with LSU right now. And he's saying it's all Brian Kelly's fault that he's not on the LSU program. And I'm like, I'm reminded of a conversation I literally had with my kid Hendrix last night. We're driving back from his tutoring session, and like, he's got 6 assignments missing in math. He's just lazy. He said, turn them in. And like a couple of them, he was like, oh, I think I turned them in and the teacher lost them. And I was like, Hendrix, we're only going to have this conversation once. You don't want to have it with me a second time. Take control of your stuff. I go, no one cares. I don't care. Your mom doesn't care. Nobody cares, and nobody believes that a room full of mistakes one person's all involved in, and then you want us to believe that some of the mistakes, those aren't yours. No, stop making mistakes. Yeah. Stop being mistake prone, and this stuff doesn't happen. And I think at least Hendrix, for a day, he understood it going to school today. If you're Sadir Mitchell and you're like, if the coach wants to come back, I'll try not to go to my third school in 3 years. And no, dude, take accountability. Stop moving around. And there's probably a lesson in a guy like Sadir Mitchell that Texas is like, man, we paid X amount of dollars for a guy like that with that profile. Do we learn anything from that? Is there anything that we can take from that we say in the future, let's just not set a pile of money on fire? And there's only so many. Not everybody is Texas A&M, where they've got donors going around. And I say that kind of tongue in cheek because I don't think Texas A&M. Texas got like 3 or 4 guys that do not want to have to bankroll everything, but they do what they got to do. But I always get the sense in talking to people that know these people that it's like, we'd love to not have to do it, the heavy lifting. We need more heavy lifters. And you got people at A&M who are like, we got more money than we got brains. That's an actual quote in the Washington Post. But not everybody's got more money than they got brains. So we're still in the vetting process, Chad, of how all of this is going to work in future years. But I do think we've got an idea from Texas that the scholarship limit's probably going to up to 105. And this guy might also be a replacement for what would have otherwise been a preferred walk-on back in the day, that instead of taking a guy who has no scholarship offers to be in your walk-on program, now you take a guy that otherwise would have gone to Minnesota, but now he's on scholarship with you, and it makes the back end of your roster potentially much stronger. Like, there's a lot of different ways of looking at this. But if you look at the profiles of guys that Texas is recruiting right now, a lot of the late offers are guys with this kind of profile. They're guys with upside that Texas does not have to pay for. And where that line begins on the totem pole of prospects is still being defined. But some of the guys that Texas has committed right now that may end up leaving may fall on the wrong side of where's that line where you can still get quality and get the best guys possible without paying top dollar. I think Texas looks at a guy like this and goes, he's as good as just about anybody we could find that would cost us money. He won't cost us money. It makes him a little bit ideal for what they're looking for.
For those of you that want some more info, and I know you do, check out that QR code in the top left. Go to orangebloods.com this week in the 10 thoughts from the weekend. Catch will get into it a little more, give you a little more thoughts on what's going on here. We got to get into game talk. We got to get into Enchiladas talk. The chat wants to talk about the game a little bit, Catch, as well. What else you got?
Pay a bill. One last thing, then we'll go Texas, Georgia, because there's some interesting stuff out of that we definitely need to get into.
Gotcha. And I see the chat, Michelle, about the enchiladas. We'll get your comment in, I promise. We will also remind you to come see us at TCH Social Austin, Texas, Georgia, 6:30 kick. The specials are right there in front of you. I'm going to take advantage of that $3 jellyfish because I've been drinking jellyfish for all these road games. So I'm going to try it again. And the bad beet bacon and that incredible pasta with the shrimp and the chorizo in it. Food's great. That video wall is massive. You want a better look at it? There's a better look at it. We're going to put Texas and Georgia right in the middle. You'll be able to follow along with the Ohio State game and some other big games as well. But Texas, Georgia, right there in the middle. 183 and Anderson Mill. Come see us. It is going to be a good time. We'll see if the Longhorns can get this done. And, of course, the post-game show brought to you by the Lowy Law Firm. Pile on in right here at Orange Bloods Live after the game. That's why we say get your notifications. You'll get the notification as the post-game is starting, so you'll know to jump in. All right, Kat, you had another note on recruiting before we move on?
I was just going to say that the thing that I would say that the profile of this kid hits at essentially the same rate, just slightly behind somebody who would be a national top 250 guy. So you're not trading a lot of potential quality for the trade-off. It is one of the things whenever you've said, well, this school has a bunch of four-star guys, and I kind of roll my eyes. It's why, how did Gary Patterson kick Texas's ass all those years? Well, because Texas's guys are a bunch of four-stars that weren't the baddest of the badasses, and those guys aren't much different than three-stars. And so if you can coach them up, you can beat them.
Yeah. All right, we'll keep our eye
as evidenced by Gary Patterson versus Texas for a decade.
Yeah, you're right. I hadn't even thought of him in this discussion, but that is a way to look at it. And I think there is some good news. I'll try to change, Catch. I'll try to change my reaction to a tight end like this jumping in the class. But I do see the point that you're making. Real quick, we had a chat kind of along these lines. Larry said, with the 105-man roster, assuming that's where we're headed, does that enable 20 to 25 high school and 15 to 20 transfer recruits? Is that the kind of numbers you're thinking of, Catch?
I would keep it, for me, closer to 50-50 because there's just almost no – but the other thing is I need a little bit of time to think about it, Larry, because one of the things that I haven't baked into either the 2025 or the 15-20 that you're suggesting is how many of those guys fit the profile that we just talked about. So he shouldn't be thought of in first 85-man terms. Does that make sense? That there does need to be a bottom part of the roster that's full of guys like this that you're just not talking about from year to year, right, picking up his tent and going home. Because if 5 of those guys are in your high school numbers, then you might elevate it. You know what I mean? I might look at it as it's a 50-50 split until you reach a part where you're making offers to guys that would otherwise be the preferred walk-ons in your class. I think this is a guy that at 105, this is a guy that's a much more elevated preferred walk-on type. I mean, I think this guy's profile is much better than where he's ranked because he's 6'5", 240. I wouldn't say this if we were at a lot of different positions, but guys like that, you take flyers on because it's guys like that. It's like regardless of how good they are as a prospect, if they're above 6'4", 230, 235, 240 as just high school kids going into college, those guys turn into NFL prospects at just ridiculous rates. Like low 4-star and high 3-star defensive linemen that are above 6'4", 240 hit at NFL rates like 5 stars. It's one of those things where it's like, if you had a coach say, we take 5 of these guys a year, every year. Why? Because at least one of them will be a badass NFL player that everybody in the country will want. You'd go, oh, got it. And that's what the math says on guys like that. You take those guys and the math works really well for you. It's not nearly the extreme 1 out of 9, 1 out of 10, 1 out of 15. That guy's probably like a 1 out of 4 or a 1 out of 5 of legitimate or better of being a legitimate NFL prospect of some degree. The kids like that, I don't mean to get too nerdy, but I love any kid that's above the tweener tag.
All right.
Height and weight.
All right, we're going to get to these enchiladas and the game. Let me thank another one of our partners real quick, and that is AV Consultations. If you're watching this game at home, make sure you have a great setup. And as you're looking forward to Thanksgiving, make sure you're not getting out-screened. Make sure you're not getting out-TV'd by somebody in your family. If you fear that may happen, if you need to get a better setup, this is the place, 255-8678, or go to avconsultations.com. Start looking at the pictures and projects they do all around the greater Austin area. They've been doing it since 1988. Pluckers, Cover 3, all those places are decked out by AV Consultations. If you want the TV in the mirror, in your bathroom, like Pluckers has, they can do it. They can also put 10 screens in your bedroom if you really want. 255-8678 or go to avconsultations.com. Make sure to tell them you heard about it here on Orange Bloods Live. All right, let's take a look. Enchiladas, Georgia. Boom. There it is. Right there. These pictures the last few weeks catch, they look like enchiladas to me. They look like enchiladas to everybody else. And how about this? Michelle says the enchiladas were so good this week, for the first time, able to eat more than a couple of bites. How about that?
So we went to El Patio, which was recommended by numerous people on Orange Bloods.
Okay.
I did think that this plate photographed the best.
Looks great. Looks excellent.
This particular plate was El Patio's trio of enchiladas. So I believe the one at the top of the screen was the beef, chicken's in the middle, cheese is at the bottom of the screen.
Okay.
They looked great because the cheese was a little like burnt.
Mm-hmm.
You can see that extra level of brown. That's not like gravy. That's the cheese with a crisp. Nice. First bite was a little bit of like, wow, that's a different taste. It was good.
Excellent. Look at that.
For me, though, by the fifth bite, I was like, I wish I'd gotten fajitas.
Hey, small steps, baby steps.
But I think there's no question that Michelle felt like these were the best enchiladas that we've had so far.
That's good. Chad says y'all's enchilada deal got him to eat some great chicken verde enchiladas last night. That's very cool. We got enchiladas all over the place.
You have no idea how much effort we made. The dry, like Michelle and I are soldiers for Texas football, as it turns out. We will do anything to put in the work. And if this team ends up winning anything of note,
yeah,
I need a dedication or something.
I think you're going to, yeah.
A plate named after me at like a restaurant. Like, I don't need,
I think that needs to happen. I mean, I think that needs to happen above all else. By the way, Craig's just throwing in a Texas will win in Athens.
I mean, Michelle's like a little thing. She's showing up every week and like trying to get in to the least healthy. I will say this about enchiladas. It does look like you're taking a year off your life every time a plate is put in front of you.
Well, it's one of those enchiladas is one of those things that as you grow older, you got to pace yourself with enchiladas. Like, no, I don't know. There are very few 85-year-old men that would tell you, you know what I do every day? I go over to El Patio and I kill that 3 plate of enchiladas Catch talks about. Every day, Bill? Yeah, every day. I'm 85. I smoke a cigar and then go to bed. Like, all right. Yeah, it's tough. Enchiladas are it's a heavy price.
It does. When you do it, you're like, okay, well, I'm just not going to do anything the rest of the day.
Yep. ATX Bates has an idea here for you guys. Says, Michelle, I got to say, you and Catch are heroes. Texas wins out because of the enchiladas. That's Medal of Honor, Tim. Let's not go that far. I don't know if it's Medal of Honor.
But you know what? ATX Bates is on the right track. I want some credit. I want to be in the official Wikipedia page.
Yeah.
Of the 2025 Texas Longhorns. There needs to be a section. It's the enchiladas section that explains the lengths to which, it became a movement. By the time we get to January, it'll be a movement.
Yeah. This one, another idea. Gonna need Catch and Michelle statues next to Ricky. Now we're talking. If this continues.
And look, I put my money where my mouth is. I'm picking Texas to win tomorrow.
Interesting discussion, Mark. I might go with the Tom Landry statue before Catch and Michelle, but just put it kind of, maybe on the list.
No, but look, here's the thing. If you put my statue up first, I suddenly have a statue on campus. I can wild. So at that point, you give me a microphone and my campaigning for Tom to get his statue can start to do some work.
You're saying if you got a statue, we'd realize what we've been seeing all these years is the tame version of Jeff Ketchum?
I could pass agendas. Like I've gone to Chris Del Conte on Twitter, on X, whatever we call it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been like, yo, let's do something for some Tom Landry.
Yeah.
And it's always like, simmer down. What are
you doing?
There's a picture in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
You're right, Chris.
By the way,
great picture. My bad.
Great trivia, Catch. This will be the first time Texas has ever played in Athens, ever. These two teams have played 7 times. The very first time, Tom Landry rushes for 117 yards and helps Texas win the Orange Bowl. By the way, he was a defensive back too. Played both ways. Tough guy back in the day. January of 1949, and Tom Landry rushes for 117. Texas wins, 41-28, I think, if I saw the score right from back then.
You're making me messed up.
There you go.
How has Texas allowed itself to not have the hat synonymous with Texas football?
It's crazy.
Even if they don't deserve it. Even if his family was like, what the hell?
Yeah. January 48, January 49, they win the Sugar Bowl against Bama. They win the Orange Bowl against Georgia, and he's a captain on both of those teams. And there are still Longhorns walking around going, I don't know, where did Tom Landry go to school? And it's like, what? Crazy. Anyway, I thought that was interesting. You and I
literally could do this once a day for an entire year, no problem.
We could. We won't. But
I would never fake the exasperation either. Every time I would just be at my wit's end.
We will get to y'all super chats. I see them. As long as we're talking enchiladas, before we leave the discussion, let me throw up some of my favorite enchiladas. I might suggest these if y'all are out by Hayes City Store. These are the enchiladas that started the whole conversation, because I put up this picture and Catch was like, I've never had enchiladas. These are their truck stop enchiladas. Get on out there if you would like to try them. FM 150 in Driftwood, or the chicken fried steak, or the chicken fried pork chop, or any of the other great stuff that we have talked about. Travis, Tamara, and the crew, they will be ready for you if you decide that enchiladas needs to be a part of your game day prep, and you're out there in the Driftwood area. So maybe just something to check out. Truck stop enchiladas.
When Texas wins tomorrow, they might need to be next, just out of principle.
Mm-hmm. Hey, they're good.
I forgot how the whole thing started.
Yep, that was it. I showed that picture, and that's what kind of got the discussion started. Also, before I hit this super chat, Catch, something will be kind of close to your heart, because you went to McCallum and Dart Bowl was right there. Did you know the Dart Bowl enchiladas have not died? There's a place serving Dart Bowl enchiladas on Anderson Lane.
Well, let me know. That actually, no offense.
I didn't know that.
I'd have to go do Dart, because I still get people who in the last couple of weeks have been, wait a minute, how the hell did you go to McCallum?
Exactly.
And I would always say, I just got something else.
Yeah. So
what I did my entire life with anything with enchiladas was on the menu.
I learned it from Bow Edge. It's basically Anderson and Mopac, right there at Anderson, a little bit down from cover 3 towards Mopac. And I think it's called the El Dorado Cafe, something like that.
Okay.
They have on their menu Dart Bowl enchiladas.
I mean, you ain't got to tell me twice. I will photograph that.
Yeah. So we may have to give that a try. You may have to put that on the list if things continue. All right, let's grab a couple super chats here. Our man ATX Bates is jumping in for 10. Rather than a high school portal ratio, would it be more impactful to think of it in terms of starter versus developmental? You want to find X number of starters, high school portal, and Y number of developmental, high school and portal.
I mean, I think there's a lot of different ways to look at it. I think that it comes down at what X, the overall quality of X matters. That what you've asked such a generic question that it would take me 30 minutes to splice it apart in the way that it would need to. Because you don't have anything in there in terms of cost in that entire equation. Right. And that's a big part of this.
Plus, I might ask, I might need a good definition for what he means by a portal developmental guy. I'm getting somebody in the portal, but I consider them developmental. I don't know how much you can afford to do that either. Maybe with 105.
You get a guy like Murad Watson and he's able to be both, but those guys are far and few between.
Yeah.
Emmanuel Moses, Emmett. I know. I stopped myself in real time.
You know what? You didn't even. I don't think you. Well, you did technically get to the last name, but you didn't finish the last name. Well done.
No, I literally heard. I stopped myself.
Emmanuel.
I didn't even say Sanders.
No, you didn't.
He's a guy that probably fits somewhere on a starter developmental out of the portal, right? Like you're taking that guy for both. But I don't even know if that's completely how he meant it in that question.
Yep. Bates, thank you very much as always. Hope to see you out at TCH Social tomorrow evening. Patrick, for $5, I'm doing my part. Enchiladas Monday night, 11:10. And tonight, we need all the juice we can get for this game. Patrick, you know what? I appreciate it. In fact, Catch, I want you to know, not only Patrick, but at least 2 members of the Hastings family are going to do their part tonight, because I'm meeting the girls and Kyle at one of my daughter's favorite Mexican food places. She has fallen in love with their beef enchiladas. So for the people and the cause, I will also eat enchiladas tonight.
You know what I have discovered? One of the things I didn't like about no offense, El Patio. I dug the restaurant. Their food was okay. Don't mean to be snobby. It looked great though. It photographed well. There's a big difference between like chicken fajita and the non-chicken fajita. And like, I'm just not
That's
about the ragtag kind of
well,
meat.
see, here's the thing. I'll be honest with you. I'm trying to think if I've ever had a chicken enchilada that was filled with fajita chicken like you're talking about.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's all I've had.
Normally it is more of a shredded chicken.
And I'm just saying that, like, I can tell.
Yeah. Well, it's fair. What about the beef? Is there, I guess, are you doing beef fajita tacos? I mean,
I have. They're fantastic.
You're doing beef fajita enchiladas, not like ground beef enchiladas.
There was it was interesting. On the plate that I ordered, there was no substitute to upgrade meat. Like there was on a lot of other options. And that it was like, and I was like, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. So, but had they had an option where I could have had better quality of protein, I would have taken it.
All right, Catch. Sandman is concerned. Let me just throw this up. We'll discuss. Sandman thinks I'm going to mess it up. I'm willing to not have enchiladas if you think I don't need to be a part of it.
Look, guys, and I hate to break this to you. This isn't about y'all. This is about Michelle and I got a little too uppity with the whole, if the Longhorns win the national championship, we'll stoop down to the peon level of Mexican Tex-Mex and we'll slum it with you regular people. As it turns out, Tex-Mex guys don't like that attitude. That's what this is about.
Imagine that.
Michelle and I recognize how hoity-toity we'd been and that Tex-Mex guys got to be friends with the football gods. They contacted the football gods and said, Texas ain't allowed to win shit. After the Florida game, Michelle and I were like, this is our fault.
Yeah. I tell you what, Sandman, since my daughter's already having enchiladas, I'll stay out of it if you want.
I just don't think you guys are as important as Michelle and I clearly are.
We are not right. It's all about Catch and Michelle. I'll stay out of it. Sandman, I'll stay out of it. I won't worry about it.
I don't want to piss off the Tex-Mex god. So bless you for like supporting local commerce.
Yeah. And here's another person. You know what? It feels like it needs to be a no. Somebody else with a no. That's fine, Anthony. I got it.
You only got to tell Chad 3 times.
Yeah. You're good. You're good. Yeah. And Sandman's right. I've not been eating enchiladas through this whole streak. So it's realistic. I get it. I understand the concern. James for $4.99 for playoff hopes. Which is better, 2-1 and beat Georgia or A&M?
I don't think there's a huge difference between the two.
I don't either.
I think both. I got to be honest, going on the road and beating Georgia might have more street cred. You know what I mean? I think there will be a conversation of, well, Texas is in.
Fair. Yeah.
If they've got OU, Vanderbilt, and Georgia on the resume, and one of their losses to Ohio State, you'll hear, I think, conversation going into the A&M game. Both of these two teams are in. There's no playoff loss jeopardy for either team.
Yeah. No, I think that's probably fair. James, thank you for that super chat. One more to clean them off. Patrick for $2. Bama 2023 vibes, fellas. That would be the road game in Tuscaloosa, obviously, that they won. Catch, I'll say.
Can I tell you how it is a little baby yes?
Okay. Baby yes. Go ahead.
Going into 2023, Texas had lost every road game it had played under Sarkisian, except for the last two. They had back-to-back games in the state of Kansas, if I'm not mistaken. And the game in Manhattan, which they just drop-kicked them upside the head in, but like slammed the brakes on Texas is terrible on the road under Sark. So when they go and play that Alabama game, it was not like Texas had done what it's done the last couple of years, and then you would go, well, Texas plays well on the road. They really weren't that team. This was the first time Texas had gone onto the road under Sarkisian and played really well. That up until then, we didn't know they had that definitely in them. I think if you look at this team where the parallel would be somewhat similar, Texas does go into this game tomorrow, I think, capable of putting together a winning performance. But so far this season, we've not seen this team play at a level on the road that suggests it can quite do that. So in a way, I do feel the same. I picked Texas to win in both of those games. But the apprehension of, you know what? I'm giving benefit of the doubt to unearned benefit of the doubt recipients. And that's what Texas is right now. Like, a number of the Orange Bloods guys have picked Texas to win this weekend. It's not deserved. They haven't played well enough in a single game this season, including the Georgia or the Oklahoma game, where I would say that was good enough to beat Georgia in Athens. But this team is on a win streak. This team is coming off of like a chance to get healthy, a chance to get some key players back. Because I'm officially at a point where if Michael Taft doesn't play, I think Georgia beats Texas. Like, I watched enough of the Vanderbilt game to realize, that's why and how 16's as valuable as he is. So it'll be a little thing like, does Zachariah Branch get tackled after an 8-yard gain? Or does he go 58 yards because the backup safety missed the tackle and an 8 turns into 58 because Zachariah Branch runs a 4.3? And so I think the two things are similar in that we're looking at two teams that on one level look like they could be peaking to something like this, but there's a whole lot of benefit of the doubt being given that's unearned. And I think that's where these two things have some real similar vibes.
Yeah, Patrick, if this game is going to get closed out the same way Texas did to Bama, I just trust this Georgia team to do it a little more than I trust this Texas team to do it. That's how I would think it'd be similar. I don't trust the Texas run game as much as I did.
I also think that Alabama team might be better than this Georgia team.
Right. And that's the part of it where you have the hope as a Texas fan, not just the way your team is playing. This is not a Georgia team that's played badass 4-quarter game after badass 4-quarter game at home. They just haven't. We've laid it all out this week about what they've been doing in these games. That it's there to be had. You just got to do it a certain way. And can Texas do it that way?
Two interesting personnel points that I think are really something to keep an eye on tomorrow, right? One of the few injuries that Georgia has had this season, Chad, and it hasn't translated necessarily. I think Georgia's actually probably better. Colby Young, the wide receiver, was, I think, their starting X.
Yeah.
He gets hurt, and Noah Thomas becomes the guy that fills the void in the starting lineup there.
Correct.
Noah Thomas has played pretty well, former A&M starter, who up until Colby Young being injured had kind of like, I thought that guy was going to do more at A&M after leaving A&M to go to Georgia. So suddenly they lose a starter. Keep an eye on Noah Thomas. He's played good football the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, he's only got a few catches, but you're right. They're starting to figure out what he could be in their offense.
Because he's the replacement.
Right.
He's Colby Young's replacement. I think that injury is only a couple of weeks old. In fact, I completely forgot about it when I did the All-22 because I was looking at the stats. It was like, Colby Young is their second leading receiver. And, I was like, okay, well, that's the guy to compare Ryan Wingo against.
Yeah.
Advantage Wingo. As it turns out, it ended up being a Noah Thomas versus Ryan Wingo debate for the X spot. And
that's definitely Wingo.
It was one-sided.
Definitely.
The Jordan Hall injury that he's just out. So neither team has anybody who's probable, questionable, or doubtful. But if Jordan Hall plays in this game,
that's different. Yeah.
He's playing right over Robertson and Cole Hudson.
Yeah. They're getting a defensive tackle back in this game, but they would gladly trade him out for Hall. Josh Horton is able to play. He ain't Jordan Hall.
No. And if Jordan Hall were healthy, that actually might be enough to swing my thoughts on how this game goes. I've got it as a 1-point win for Texas. Okay.
Yeah,
I saw
that.
If you tell me that Jordan Hall is healthy and able to attack the area that's been the greatest bugaboo for Texas all season long, it might be the biggest problem they've actually had at that area all season long because he's the most talented guy they would have played. But instead, Georgia will be replacing him with a guy that who could still have a decent game, but that isn't Jordan Hall. He's not going to potentially dominate a game. Jordan Hall in the right matchup could do to Texas what Colin Simmons does to other teams, where it's just like, oh, we couldn't block him 6 times in the game, and we turned it over twice, and it just wasn't good in general. And it's like, oh, that guy's going to be a first-round draft pick? Yeah.
The other thing to keep up with these injury reports, Catch, is weird. Sometimes it's not how they move in the report. It's do they come off of the report. Georgia did get good news on Lawson Lucky. He is off the report now. This is a pass-catching tight end, 6'4" guy. He's only got 10 catches. But
Oscar Delp's their number 1 guy, but like Texas, they play a lot of 12 personnel, and he'll play a lot.
Oh, God, they play 12. They play 13, 14. They put more tight ends out there than you can imagine sometimes. But
you know what? Tight ends like going there as a consequence.
Hell yeah, they do. He's made a couple big catches for him. He's had 3 touchdowns, and he was hurt, I think, in the Ole Miss game. So it's been a while since he played. I think it was a concussion for him. They had to get him out of the protocol. But you look at those stats, they're spread out over just a few games. He is back. So that's something to look for because he does have 3 touchdowns and 10 catches.
One more guy that's played a lot for them that's just out. Kyron Jones, the DB. That's a guy that he's been good this season. It's not like they lost Micah Downs or even a Michael Taffer or Jelani McDonald, but he's a good player. And, look, this is what you and I keep talking about this season. It's pretty damn rare when the backup's better than the starter. And it is a very fan thing to do to say, hey, we just got better. It was a blessing that Trey Wisner is hurt because here comes James Simon and here comes, who's the kid that transferred whose name I've already forgotten. That guy. We do this thing as fans. Like, I do it too sometimes with my favorite teams where it's like, oh, yeah, this guy's hurt. Now we're going to find out we found out what the backup can do. When you look at this team in the last couple of weeks, Georgia has lost a key receiver, a critical defensive tackle, and a pretty critical back end of their defense.
Yeah.
Texas, whatever we're saying about Texas right now, they haven't really lost anybody for the season since August.
Right.
So I do think that there is a personnel advantage that Texas is a little fortunate on. And look, we've seen games. If Manny Muhammad or Malik, depending on which side of the fence you're on with the whole name thing, if he plays against Florida, they probably win that game. He plays, Dallas Wilson gets shut down, Longhorns win. The one game he missed, some rando freshman who's never done it in any other game lights that side of the field up nonstop to the point where Texas fans are like, yo, we need to go get Dallas Wilson in the portal. Why? Did you see what he did to us?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he just didn't do that to anybody else. I think Onwar has been the first to kind of point that out. Like, hey guys, FYI.
Absolutely. Hey, all I know,
national debt over that one performance.
All I know, Catch, is an Aggie fan. When Florida came to College Station, I was paying attention to Dallas Wilson. I'm like, good Lord, is this the start of something? What's happening? It was not the start of something.
So anyway, I think that in a game that could be decided by fine margins, it's not insignificant that Georgia has lost a few really important players. And look, as well as Noah Thomas has started playing, I'm guessing if you were to ask the Georgia coaches, would you rather have Noah Thomas right now or Colby Young back? I'm guessing they'd say we'd rather have our starting wide receiver back. No offense to Noah Thomas, who has been playing better, but we'd like to have the guy that we thought all along was better of the two.
Yeah, I definitely like Noah Thomas a lot. He's wearing number 5 for Georgia when you're watching the game, and Lawson Lucky wears 7. Georgia loves the single digits on receivers and tight ends. Delp wears 9.
I feel like we're going to see Noah Thomas make a play tomorrow because it's just too in the cards. You got to have a reason to really want to talk about him, so he needs to make a catch so that the world can be reminded that he's a transfer from Texas A&M and that whole thing.
Yeah, you know the announcers will be ready to say that, right?
As soon as he makes the first catch.
They'll have that one in the holster, ready to go. All right, let's hear from Specs, and then we might buy or sell.
When fall's chill hits the air, raise a glass with cash to spare. Specs can fill those longer nights with fancy cheese and wine flights. Camp is set and the night is young? Grab a brewski, time for fun. Game day underway? Specs delivers. It's a great day. Picnic in the park, perfect pairing for the heart. Stock up and save on seasonal cheer, because when you shop at Specs, the fun starts here.
Here's to you, shout cheers to savings.
Picnic in the park, indeed. Catch, are you ready to buy or sell on a Friday?
Quick buy or sell. Buy or sell. You go on a picnic in the park, you definitely have a tray of cheese with you.
I don't know. Definitely. Yeah, maybe it's a buy.
Cheese tray guy.
No, it's a sell. I'm not a cheese tray guy.
I saw someone working in the HEB, not the deli.
Yeah.
Right? They're not in the deli. They're in the cheese section.
No.
And I thought, what do you tell people is your job?
Cheese section coordinator?
Is something like that? Like,
yeah. Because see, what I was
like the delis where the varsity would work.
Yeah.
And then like, well, what do? You make cheese trays. Oh.
Yeah.
You're in that special novelty. You're in novelty foods is what you are.
Yeah. What I would do, Catch, at the picnic is Ritz crackers with the bacon flavored squeeze cheese. That's what you do.
I wonder if it's like being in the police, like the people that work in that section also work in the deli. It's like traffic cop duty, where it's like, all right, Thursday's your day to go slum in the whatever.
And they make fun of each other.
Or if you're just having a bad day, you tell the people that you work with, hey, I'll take it today. I used to do that in the 5th grade. I'd go walk up to Mrs. Ullman or in the 7th grade, and I would say, hey, I feel like I'm going to be disruptive today. Can I sit in the hallway? And she'd be like, yes. And it'd be the kind of the same concept. Like if you just want to be left alone, you just let people know, hey, I got cheese today. I got the cheese section. Stay out.
What a weird student, a preemptive maniac. Hey, I feel like today's not going to be a good day for you. Can I leave?
She said yes every time.
I bet she did. I would have said yes too. There's
a history there that favors me that story doesn't completely do justice to.
Dave is suggesting the Minister of Cheese is the title. The Cheese Minister. You want to go first or second in buy or sell?
I feel like I've gone first every day this week when we've done buy or sell. So you go.
All right, fair enough. All right, Catch, buy or sell number 1. Wingo has 100+ receiving yards.
Sell, but hold that thought.
Sell, but hold the thought.
I have a Ryan Wingo question for you.
Okay. Buy or sell number 2, Catch. You would have flipped Indiana and A&M at 2 and 3 last week. Buy or sell?
Sell. On the completely subjective, confirmation bias-filled view of these two teams that I have, I think I still favor Indiana slightly above Texas A&M. And I wonder if it's because I just don't think A&M's the best team in the SEC. So it's a weird thing where it's like, oh, they have to be ranked 3rd, I think, but they're 4th in my SEC power poll. So I don't know. And I don't know that I would feel that way about Indiana if they were in the SEC. I don't know.
Okay.
Like I said, it's subjective and confirmation bias filled, and I don't know that it's right.
There you go. You, like the committee, are crazy. Buy or sell number 3, USC beats Iowa.
Buy. Yeah. It's in LA.
Yep.
Iowa, having come off of a big game last week, now traveling, they might not just get beat. They might get beat down.
All right. How about this one? Buy or sell number 4. Georgia Tech wins out in conference. There are the 2 games for you and takes the ACC.
So something kooky always happens in the ACC, and it might be that Georgia Tech wins their last 2 and then loses the ACC.
Yeah, I think you might be right. And finally, Catch, buy or sell number 5. You are all in on Landman. New season Sunday. Buy or sell?
Oh, buy. Oh man, I hope Jerry's back. Give me another Jerry episode. Thank you for the reminder. I had forgotten, but yeah, I love me some Landman.
I don't need Jerry. What I do need is the guy that I've seen they're adding to the show, Sam Elliott. Mwah!
I want to see Jerry in the hospital talking to Sam and giving him a live speech about something.
That could be good. He's not working at the other job, so might as well
Spend
do
time
that.
with your kids. Throw away that Cowboys franchise and let everybody think you're working on it, but really you're just hanging out with your kids.
And before you do your buy or sell catch, just so people think I might have not been following up, this is updated. 769 days since OU scored a touchdown against Texas.
You know, my favorite thing about that is put it back up, Chad.
It was one of those bits that I didn't think we needed to go every single day, but trust me, I have been keeping up with it.
The entire human race is represented in that graphic as well, it would appear.
That is true. The Benetton Hook'ems was also my idea.
You were just like, we are the world up in here.
Mm-hmm.
It feels very much like when Stevie Wonder and Springsteen are doing the riffing together, the back end of We Are the World. I love that, man. Thank you.
There you go. No problem. I do what I can.
Bringing us together. That's what we do on Orange Buzz Live.
Bringing everybody together. What do you got, Catch? By the way, Zoe, I see that super chat. We'll get it after buy or sell.
Buy or sell number one, a top 10 team not named Texas or Georgia will lose this weekend.
I like that. A top 10 not named Texas or Georgia will lose this weekend. Hang on.
Now you got to look at the schedule. And
No. I'm just going to look at the rankings here because I've got a team in mind, but are they top 10? Yeah, you know what? Not named Texas or Georgia. Yeah, bye.
All right, buy or sell number two. This is kind of a follow-up. Buy or sell, Texas fans will be wasting their time watching and hoping for Oregon and Notre Dame to lose this weekend.
Sell. They'll be watching college football. That's not a waste of time. And Pitt can beat Notre Dame. And who's Oregon playing?
It's not about can.
It's not wasting your time, though. It's not wasting your time.
It's advanced scouting. You need to.
Yeah, you're going to be watching. You're going to be hoping. And by the way, that's tonight. That's the reason I couldn't find it on my Saturday sheet. Tonight is Oregon and Minnesota. 8:00 start Central Time. And you know what? Who knows? I know it's at Oregon. That one's less likely to me. But, man, Notre Dame could go and lose on the road. So I don't think that's a waste of time at all.
Okay. Buy or sell number three, Ryan Wingo's prize pick number for receiving yards on Saturday. 58 and a hook. Take the more.
That I would take the more on. I got Texas scoring 28 points in this game, and that can't happen to me unless Ryan Wingo is above that number. So, yeah, it's a buy.
Buy or sell number four, Colin Simmons will be the best player on the field in the Texas-Georgia game.
Yeah, it's a buy. It's a buy. I think
he's pretty sensational right now.
I think he is. It's the best side of the ball for Texas. It's the side that really, I think, will keep them close in this game if that's what happens. And he's the big reason, man. He's been so noticeable these last few weeks, and he's on an incredible run. So, yeah, I'll take him over everybody else.
I think he's playing in the last month. He's in the best form the last month of any edge player I've ever covered in 30-plus years. And that would include Brackens. That would include Arakpo. That would include Kendall. Like, he's been absolutely incredible, and I don't feel like that's hyperbole at all.
Yep.
And finally, buy or sell number five. You've seen the movie Weapons, probably because of your wife, and you really liked it.
Sell. I have not seen Weapons. The only reason I would have ever seen Weapons would be the woman who I don't know her name, but the one that was in Ozark.
Yeah.
So I love her, but I have not seen Weapons. No, just a little creepy on its face for me to go see. I could probably sit through it if my wife had wanted me to go see it in the theater, but I don't think she's seen it either.
I watched this weekend on HBO Max.
Is it good?
Really good.
Okay. You would recommend that one?
I would. I think it's potentially like an Oscar nominated Best Picture kind of a potential. Okay. I really liked it.
You think I could handle it?
Yeah, it's not like a horror movie.
Okay.
It's got jump scares. There's one thing at the end that's kind of gruesome, but it's not like you're going to go see a horror movie in the sense that heads are getting chopped off constantly.
I got you.
Not
Okay.
like that.
Zoe, I said I'd get your super chat. Let's do it. $9.99. I recognize that this is crazy, but if Arch goes off and UT wins its last remaining games by 6 or more in each game, including the SEC championship, tell me he can't steal the Heisman. Knocks on wood.
He can't steal the Heisman.
Whew. No, I don't think so.
I mean, you told me to tell you. I'm telling you, he can't steal the Heisman.
I don't think so. Zoe, be a hell of a story to try, but I don't think so.
But something like that would really say we'd go the entire offseason at that point with people saying, did we underrate Arch Manning? Should he have been in New York for the Heisman? He was underrated last year. He's definitely the Heisman favorite.
Right.
Just
then he would go into next year once again as the Heisman favorite. By the way, thank you to I gotta memorize this woman's Julia Garner. For some reason it does not stick in my head. I love her. Thank you, Dave, for reminding me what her name is.
And I hope I'm not overhyping weapons. But I kind of watched that sight unseen. I hadn't seen the previews or anything. It was pretty dope, I have to say.
Cool. All right, we got a Scottish guy coming before it wraps up. Let me remind you, though, we are 1 week away from the Deep Eddy Vodka Tasting Room. Next Friday, we're going to be there for the live show at 12, just like you're watching right now. The Q&A until 3. We'll hang out for a little Q&A. You've always wanted to ask Catch that question. You live in the dirty drip. Come on out and see us at the Deep Eddy Vodka Tasting Room. And maybe, just maybe, they'll still have a bottle or two of the Deep Eddy Espresso left. It's only in the tasting room. Get out there and get the bottles. They are only there while they're there, and then it's done. It's a limited time event, so make sure you get out there. But we can't wait to see you next Friday at the Deep Eddy Vodka Tasting Room the day before Texas plays Arkansas. Cannot wait to check it out. That espresso martini with the Deep Eddy Espresso, it's going to be something. I'll be bouncing off the walls more than I normally am. All right, Catch. Is there anything else we need to hit?
No, I could go for on and on and on and on, but no, I'm good.
Okay. Thank you guys for jumping in on the super chats. And again, TCH Social Austin tomorrow, 6:30 kick. Texas and Georgia, and jump on in for the post-game show. We'll see if Texas can get this thing done. We will wrap up on a Friday, as we always do, with the Scottish guy. Y'all take care. Have a great weekend. See ya.
I said, Georgia, Georgia, no peace I find. Just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. Sweet song, my ass. It's the song of barking fans in spiked shoulder pads. The song of a run game that just won't stop. And the song of Kirby and his timeout clapping. Mr. Smart gets more calls at home than Brady and Mahomes combined. But there's one way to beat the fix. Just be so much better that the fix can't fix it. Hey, Kirby, I know why you texted Sark, and it had nothing to do with a bus ride. You were looking ahead, 'cause Sark's in your head. You keep beating him, but he's still a bigger deal. Texas is still a bigger deal, and that drives you crazy. Plus, you saw the Vandy film, didn't you? Yeah, you did. What happens if that O-line stands up to your little dogs and pushes you around? What happens if the Texas defense crawls inside Stockton's head again and puts it in a blender? And worst of all for the children of the hedge, what happens if the good Arch shows up? I'll tell you what happens. All those home game numbers won't mean Texas is about to take your spot. Your spot in the CFP, your spot in the SEC, and your spot on top of college football. The old dog has had its day. It's Old Yeller time, and Sark's holding the gun. Don't worry, Georgia. It won't hurt much. Until you see what bowl game you're in. Get your excuses ready. UT62, a fight song that makes you look around for statues that have been up too long. 3. This is SG. TORCH.